Good evening. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to survive a disastrous floor plan, master tactical speaker placement, and bring perfect sound to the most unpredictable venues. 3 days ago, a client submitted a floor plan, one unlike anything we've seen before. The venue is oversized. The guest count is massive. The dance floor, nowhere near the DJ booth. This is not your average setup. They need sound coverage. They need clarity. They need a mission-ready DJ team. And that's where we come in. The client's expectation, flawless audio for a wedding reception, ceremony, and dance party. All under one roof, with one shot to get it right. Our objective: to decode the difference between PA loudspeakers and column arrays, to crush long-standing DJ sound myths, to plan the ultimate tactical speaker placement strategy, and to review this floor plan in real time, section by section. To help us navigate this mission, we've called in backup, a specialist in sound design, rigging, and event production, Buddy Mueller from TBM Productions. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to tune in, take notes, and level up your DJ setup game. Because when the floor plan works against you, you don't panic, you plan. This podcast episode will self-destruct. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Before it's time to spin, you've got to first cue it up.
I'm probably in your area too. Everybody who owns a laptop, they're a DJ. Everybody who owns a DSL camera, they're a photographer.
And what I'll do is put up blurbs so therefore you can see what I'm thinking about and why I chose that song. You can see the reaction of the kids. So you can kind of like get an idea of how to use it and what to expect.
Why do you want to charge for something that you have the knowledge of and these other DJs don't have the knowledge of? Share your knowledge, you know? Right. But it's DJing's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but it is a lot of fun too, you know? I'm djmikiemike. I cover central, northeastern Pennsylvania, southeastern Pennsylvania, parts of New Jersey, parts of New York State.
And I'm Dwayne Dixon, the HitmanDDub from Cleveland, Ohio. And it's time to cue it up. What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Cue It Up DJ podcast with me, Dwayne Dixon, the HitmanDDub, and my friend djmikiemike. And our other friend, we're joined by Buddy from TBM Productions and the DJ Roundtable.
Hey, buddy. I got one
What's
thing
going on, guys?
for you.
The funny thing, I love the intro. I look like Curly from the Three Stooges. And it screwed my last name up. But that's okay, because a lot of telemarketers who are calling me saying I won $1 million, they do the same thing. So it's like, oh, okay. It's the same as a telemarketing store. So they must go to the same school of language to pronounce my last name. It's a German name. It's Mueller. It's standard. I know some people like to say it's Miller, but if you took the German translation into English, it's Miller. But the German way of saying it is Mueller, and that's the way we do it. It's funny when I go to Wisconsin, they say Miller. I'm like, no, it's Mueller.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but spelled M-U-E. Yeah, it's Mueller. Miller is just the English version of that. My name is Mueller, so thank you.
All right.
Buddy,
thanks for joining us.
This one's for you. It's a tasty cake cupcake. Belated happy birthday, pal.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Got the same birthday as Prince, so your birthday is easier to remember.
Yes, and also I have the same birthday as Carl Urban, the actor.
Okay.
He was born in New Zealand, so he's older than I am because they were like a day ahead in Australia, New Zealand. But yes, he is. I always liked him. I liked him in Judge Dredd. I also liked him on the Star Trek movies when he played Bones. But he's been in a lot of movies. If you guys get a chance to go to IMDb and look up Carl Urban, you see he's been in a lot of movies. He's a real good actor. He was actually in one of my a real good TV show I liked that was on Fox for a while, Almost Human. He was a cop in the future with a robotic partner.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool. But I know you guys brought me in here for your mission of hardship and your mission of having problems with this setup. So the very first thing anyone, when you're looking at sound, when you're trying to get sound, you're trying to think of sound for stuff, is what is the end result? What are you trying to do? Is it a party? Is it a corporate event with speeches and people talking and music's more background? Is it a EDM fest? Is it a wedding? What kind of look and feel are you trying to go for it? So my first question to you, Dwayne, since it's your gig, is what is the event? What expectation you have for the event?
It's a wedding, and why don't I just show you the? I'll put the diagram up there because it's a funky. It's one of those things where they invited a bunch of people. That's what my concern is. They said they're expecting over 300 people. But looking at that room, I can't see 300 people being there, and then you want to do a dance floor. 300 people can fit the room, but if you want to put a dance floor in there, it's something totally different. So, let me see. Because I got a 360 I can show you all. So you can see the whole room, the pan of the room. Right. Boom. Let me move that over here. And just let me know when you can see it, because I know we're on a delay.
Want to say hi to everyone in the chat. If you're on there chatting, just do us a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon. Follow over here at Cue It Up. And make sure you follow Mike and Dwayne over here. Dwayne being the main man. He is the brains behind over here. And he's here to teach you and help you. And Mike's here to help you as well. So again, if you get a chance to, show the love. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and follow these two guys because they have a lot of great information to give you.
Yep, thanks. So it just popped up on my second computer. Yep. Did it come up on yours?
Yep, it's up on mine.
Okay. So this is me facing the wall, and then on the left side is where the head table was supposed to be at, because where I'm standing looking at the wall, they want to put the dance floor right in the middle. So that means in order to put a dance floor there, that means all your tables is going to go on the perimeter of the venue. So they want me to be like in a corner, like when the people first walk in. So that means there'll be me, and then there'll be a bunch of tables before you even get to the dance floor, and then the head table. So I'm going to slide over so you can see the entrance. And so my thinking was try to put the head table against the wall when you first walk in. As soon as it pop up, you'll see it. Because you'll see a black chair in the corner. Yep, you see.
Yep.
Like the black lounge chair. That'll be where I'll be at. And then the black, look like a black dividers, those won't be there. And then where you have the little white banner, that's where I said the head table should go, because they wanted to put it in the middle of that wall that we were looking at when the picture first came up. So I said put the head table against that wall where the entrance come in, and then try to move everybody closer to that front wall in front of the head table, so you still have an area in front of the DJ booth. So it's not like I'm over here and I gotta go past people, for the dance floor.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I don't want to put speakers right next to a table, because then they're gonna get blasted, And then 2, I don't want to put speakers near the tables because I don't want people to be tempted to either touch the speaker or put things on the speaker.
Yeah.
So
not only that, you'll be running wire over to the speaker, and you don't want nobody tripping, and a lot of gaff tape going down there too.
So this is what
Okay,
I
so
had
here's some questions for you for parameters.
Mm-hmm.
How tall is the ceiling? What's
Not
the
that
size
tall.
of the room?
It's not that tall. The
Is
ceiling
it 10 feet? Is it 12 feet? Is it 15 feet?
I'll say about 12.
I'm looking at where the trusses are going across. I'm looking at the truss. I'm gonna say the truss is probably 10 feet off the deck.
Yeah, because I know I can jump up and swipe it with no problem.
Okay. So you have relatively low ceilings.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know about what the dimensions are of the room? Because it's rectangle.
No, not the precise dimensions, but it's not long. I should say, if you're coming in from the when you walk into the room is long, but the sides are shorter. So it's not that
it's rectangle.
Right, because I'm almost thinking I was going to do the column arrays. Because actually, the one column array, if I crank it, can pretty much fill that room. But the thing is also, I know definitely doing the regular tops, the EV ELXs, I know that.
Two ways.
Yeah. And just doing one, I know one would definitely fill up that room.
See, you have to look at a few things.
Mm-hmm.
You have to look at, you're saying 300 people is what they're having there. So all the stuff that the audience is seeing right now on the floor, all this looks like blow up stuff, it's all going to be out of there.
Right.
So all these slides and toys and whatnot, they're going to be cleared out, and it's going to be a raw floor. And then have a bunch of round tables with either 6, 8, or 10 people each table. So if you have 10 people per table, you'd have, for 300 people, that's 30 tables.
Yeah.
And I can show you the diagram that they wrote out. So as soon as it changed, you'll see it, because you'll see after I had spoke up and told them how they should move the head table. This would be the first diagram. You see it? Where now the dance floor is here going the long way, but you still have the tables on the outsides.
So where your DJ booth, is it near the opening, that open area? Okay,
Yeah.
so the opening, the opening coming into the room is where the DJ booth.
Right, where that black chair was.
And then, is there cabinets there? Did I see like metal cabinets, like storage cabinets on that wall?
Let me see. I want to say, because they're going to close the curtain. If you saw, there's like a black curtain. So I'm not really in the corner, because I'll be a little off, because they have to close the curtain. I guess they put all the blow up stuff behind there. So
so you can have a smaller space,
right,
than what I don't think it would fit 300. I don't think it would fit 30 tables in there at 10 people each table. Unless you have 300 people standing, or you have it in more or less just rows of seats. That room does not look big enough. I sent you a couple of pictures, by the way, of a gig that was 190 people. It's a much different room, much taller ceilings. It's a former horse barn. So it is a different feel. So when you have stables have usually high ceilings. It's more of a little more industrial, more warehouse kind of feel versus what you're having. But very similar. This is concrete floors. You have a concrete floor. Concrete reflects sound and bounces sound around. The things I'm looking at is to cover the room properly. Your arrays, you're talking about the harbingers, they're not powerful enough because again, people absorb sound.
Okay.
They're going to go so far and unfortunately just die because they don't have the horsepower. 120, it would be like Maui 5s. Like I have Maui 5s, 120 SPL. It's a good amount of sound, but there's limitations to that.
Okay.
So those speakers, if I was running it, the system, those speakers I would look as side fill speakers. You know, and they would be on the delay. Depending how far down the wall you go with it, they would be on a so many millisecond delay to make sure there's, when I go in the middle of the room, it doesn't sound echoey like you're in the middle of a baseball park,
right,
or a football stadium.
But
So
I don't
you would
think the
have
harbingers
to
have that.
no, you would have to put it in there through either a mixer or a DSP or something to give a delay.
Okay.
If you can't do that, then you want to forego it because again you have off sound.
Right.
You
I'd
need
rather
so many
forego it, 'cause that
so
sound
many
like that's too much
millisecond.
extra work.
Again, it is what it is. And if you want, this is the thing when you do sound right. There's so many steps to do it, and there's so many people who make missteps. And again, I'm not the world's biggest expert on it. There's just certain things you do. The further you get away from the main source, you want to have those delay for a side fill. So again, you don't have the echoing sound. Now, if you don't want to do that, you don't have to do that, but then you run at a lower volume.
Okay.
Because again, you want to not fight the main speakers. Your main speakers, I would go with a two-way speaker because you project.
Okay.
Arrays have a nice, beautiful bubble of sound. Now, on your harbingers, just like the Maui 5s, it's a bubble of sound. When you go into different arrays, like the picture I sent you is the DB Technologies. They have different DSPs to change the effect of the speaker, and you actually have project or long throw on the speaker, so they can project the sound that go from a bubble and still keep that bubble, but make that bubble more oval and project further. And that's what you need. You need projection.
Okay.
And the reason why when you have people into the room, you absorb sound. Skin absorbs sound, clothes absorb sound, hair absorbs sound. Then you're bouncing sound off of things, off of walls, off a concrete floor, off of dishes, glasses. That bounces sound. Then they have fabric covers on the tables that will absorb sound. If they have flowers, that will absorb sound. So you have these contradictions of materials that do sometimes funky things with sound, and you can run into not phasing, but you can run into a little bit of reflective sound can give you a kind of funny hear or funny sound. The main goal is for the dance floor to be covered. And the way I would do it is where you have the DJ booth, one two-way speaker by you, and then the other two-way speaker on the other side, and facing the direction of the arrow. You're shooting down the hall. You're shooting down the room. You're not trying to shoot across the room. If you put both speakers in that corner, you're going to be really loud, and the people in the far corner are not going to hear things clearly. They're going to deal with a lot of other stuff, reflective sound, so forth, so on. So they may not hear speeches, especially this is, again, a wedding, which speeches are important for people to hear. The dance floor, when the dance floor gets hot right in front, then you're looking at focusing sound on the dance floor. The two speakers, again, you would put one, if possible, on each side of that, basically of the head table, kind of like the picture I sent you.
All right.
Where
did you send it? Instagram?
I sent it Instagram.
Okay.
I sent you two pictures.
All right.
And I'm in the corner, kind of like what you're looking at, but my speakers are not with me. There's one near me. One is probably 10 feet away from my command area. The other one's probably 25, 30 feet.
All right, let me save it and then I'll show it so people will see. Got the one and
Very echoey. Who's echoey?
I
Will.
think he's referring to the concrete floors and the metal roof.
who me? Can
No,
Will absorbs a
for
lot of sound.
venue. I'm looking at that.
Harbingers, will Harbingers can do a gig. It all boils down to what you're doing. Like the Maui Fives, it's a good speaker. Oh, what's up, Kurt? What's up, Dynablend? The Harbingers can do a gig, no problem. They can fill a room. It all boils down to, do you have the right tool? Like the room that I sent to Dwayne here, you can use Maui Fives to cover it because it's too large of a room. It doesn't have the legs. Tile floor. Oh yeah, tile floor makes it echoey. That's why you want a little more projection. You're not going to eliminate that, but actually people help absorb the echo. So the more fabric you have in the room, it's baffles. So like the tablecloths help baffle. If there's any rugs, that helps out a lot. But yeah, concrete or tiled floor, yeah, it just sound just skips across it, and you have concrete walls or metal walls.
so the
They skip
EV go
across
with the EVs.
Yeah, EVs would be what you want to go with for your mains, and then the Harbinger arrays, I would do that as a side fill.
And so where would you put the side fill?
On each side, probably 20, 30 feet down, and they're faced inwards. So you'd run your speaker cable right out of the main, right? Your the through. So you have your line coming in, your XLR coming in to the back. You have your input, and then you have through your output.
Right.
You go out of your speaker, run XLR down over, and you're on your Harbingers. You just need to adjust the volume down. So you adjust the volume like basically like halfway.
It's almost like
I
doing
wouldn't go more
like the monitors, like at a concert.
Yep, you're going to you're going to go about halfway. You're going to go about halfway. Make sure you lower any bass if there's a bass option. Like I'm going middle of the Maui 5. I don't have the Harbingers, but like in a Maui 5, you have a subwoofer option for adding or minusing subwoofer, and you have a high frequency option on the Maui 5s. If you have any of that, you want kind of more neutral standards on it. You don't want to add too much to it because you don't want to have a chance of interference.
Because I was going to say basically, because on the Harbingers you have like dance floor where they boost the bass. Default, I'm thinking is just flat. Speaker is more so for like a speech. So I'm assuming they're going to be more.
That's
high.
what you want to have it for.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was gonna
And the
say-
reason why you want to run the side speakers, the side fill speakers for your cocktail, speeches, and dinner. But again, they're a lower volume. They're just there to add more fill. So you're not overdriving the front speakers and creating more echo.
Okay. So basically what you're saying, if our screen is like let's just go left, wherever, the side, this is the entrance. So one speaker is going to face and point towards the back of the venue, and then my second EV is going to point in the opposite direction, and then have the Harbinger in the middle as a filler. Is that what you're saying?
So again, if you look at that picture, you see my booth in the corner off to the side.
Right.
Then you see the two DB 1002s. They're straightforward. That's what you do, kind of same thing with the EVs, with your 12 or 15, whatever it is. Straightforward, right down the canyon. So they're both facing straight. The side fill speaker, again, with that room, again, that's dimensions are kind of, one of the things that if I knew, 20, 30, 35 feet, 40 feet, basically about halfway down on the wall, along the wall. That's where you would put your Harbinger on one on each side. So they're facing each other.
Okay.
So they're even facing each other. Again, and that's going to create a bubble of sound in that area, but they're not going to fill sound to each side. You're not making it so it's really loud. So they're basically hitting each other and causing phasing and smashing each other in the dance floor. You're filling the area with sound. And again, you're having lower volume than your mains. It's just there to fill the area so that when people talk and you have cocktail and dinner, it's not overly loud in there. It's even sound throughout. Versus you just have your two front speakers, you got to crank that volume up more to hit that back wall. And then you start running into either slap, where you hear the sound reflected back to you from echoing, or you run into that you got to have it at such a volume that people talk on a microphone, feedback. Or the third thing is that you have it too low, people in the back can't hear anything going on. They can't hear music, they can hear stuff. So this is the thing that once you set everything up and get everything going and people come into the room, you'd want to walk the room. You may have to do some fine tuning, maybe adding a little bit more volume, but I wouldn't go more than, 3/4. It's going to be whatever's come out of the main speakers, that's going to be your louder part, but there's going to take those same exact information out of those main speakers and come down to the harbingers, and you're going to run those again as separate speaker level. Now, if it was my stuff, I would be running the the DBs in the front and running Maui 5s on the side, but I'd run wireless so I can control the speakers, the side fill speakers separately, and it would be on a delay, probably a 20-second or 30-second millisecond delay, which you can do that in the in-ear monitors. They have an option for delay in there, so you can add a delay for the signal going out, and then have probably maybe Tracy, if I have one of my employees, have them check it, and I would go and check it because you want to have someone listen to it and make sure there's not echo. But again, if you don't have a delay, you run the volume a little bit lower, but you still have enough volume there to cover. The Harbinger speakers are really good. In that room right there with 300 people, they're going to get lost very quickly because they don't have the horsepower, they don't have the push, and it's nothing against the speaker. It's just the way the speaker's designed. It's a lesser power speaker. Again, Maui 5s I wouldn't use that for. J8s, yeah, you could use J8s. They have a little more horsepower. They have a little more throw. You can put the speaker up higher, taller. The DBs, they go really tall too, and they have a long projection, and they have a lot of drivers in those heads. J8 is not as many drivers as this. The Maui 5s is 4 drivers in the top. So again, they had great sound. Again, and the Harbinger speaker has great sound. The thing is that, again, it doesn't have the horsepower or the throw, and you want to have throw. Now, when the dance floor opens, when you go to open the dance floor to do special dances and stuff like that, you would kill those side fill speakers.
Okay.
So you don't use them for cocktail, dinner, speeches. Once the dances come up, you kill them at the end of dinner. So right before the end of dinner, you're coming to the end, last 10 minutes or so, walk over, turn one off, turn the other one off, go back to your booth, and they just sit there.
Okay, and then do I do any kind of adjustments to the main tops, the EVs?
You just again, you ramp the volume up a little more because then you're going to want a hot dance floor.
Okay.
So, and again, you don't want those side fill speakers running really hot because the fact that you already got loudness in the front. You want people to able to have conversation and talk. So if you run multiple speakers at a lower volume, you can fill an area nicely, not be overly loud and overly bright, and people can hear speeches. They can hear the music and be part of it and feel the vibe, but not feel like they're in the front row of a concert. You want them to be part of it and enveloped into it, but you don't want them to feel like to get hit in the face all the time with sound.
Okay. So basically, because I never thought of it that way, because it sounds like when you do sound, it's more so for like filling up, like if you think of the sound as water, where you got multiple sound sources. You're not trying to blast it so when they hit, they like do that explosion, but bring it just enough so the front can hear it, and then the people that can't hear, you bring the other one and adjust it so the sound is even, and then the column of rays.
Nice calm waves like on the lake, You know, you're sitting there, you have nice little, beautiful little waves. You don't, you know, someone's like up running through with their jet ski or their boat. Okay, fine, great. But you don't want that heavy rocking back and forth. No. And again, sound waves, they start clashing against each other. That's when you start running into comb filtering, phasing. You run into power alleys where you get this projection of straight lines of huge amount of sound. You get dips in the sound, you get odd things going on, and that's what you want to avoid. That's why you don't run things really loud and really bright. You want to watch what you're doing. And the other thing is that I don't know if you have one or you can buy one off Amazon, but a sound meter is a nice thing to have because you can see what decibels you're at. And cocktail and dinner, usually I try to stay between like 65 and 70 decibels. A lot of times people will talk louder than what that is. That's fine and great. You know, I want to be able to hear the people talking in the tables not far from me. I don't want to hear the conversation. I just want to be able for them to hear and not have them like, oh man, it's so loud. What am I doing? You know, I don't want that. And that's the thing when, again, that picture you have still up, that's why I did what I did. Now, this particular facility has another building, you could say, to the right of that head table, and it's a whole hallway that I put a Maui 5 in there for cocktail and dinner because cocktails there and dinner, and I ran that all the way up to the dance floor so they could hear speeches. The restrooms are over there so people can hear that we're calling for this or that. People are not caught off guard. And it filled the area with music, but not overly loud. We don't want it to be, obnoxious. We want it to be pleasant. And again, I run wireless systems, so all three speakers were, run with one of these in-ear monitors. And these are great because I can individually control the volume. So I could set it, if I'm going to set it in a normal area, okay, hey, you know what? This is a normal speaker, a main speaker. I can set that speaker at basically 6, which is 50% on this, 5 or 6 on that. I have a nice, good and bright on this, and then go to a speaker I'm using as a remote speaker or a fill speaker. I can set this down to like 4, 3, or if I'm just doing the fill speakers, I can run that system separately on the output of the monitor booth out on your controller.
So that's just you just using a regular in-ear monitor like a musician would have.
Yeah,
just regular in-ear monitor.
Yep.
Okay. And it's nothing crazy. You can buy again. I have Sennheiser because I like the quality of them and I don't mind spending money. But I know other manufacturers make them too. Phoenix Pro stuff. They have in-ear monitors as well. I have not worked with them. I don't know how well they work. Shure has them. Audio Technica has them. You can go on the whole entire list. The one thing you want to make sure they can do is scan. All the Sennheisers will scan, and they will check the frequency so you can see it. And the other nice thing is that with the Sennheiser, they have the IR port, so I can scan it, find the frequency I want, and program all within a few seconds. And then they just go out, and it's a quarter. It's a headphone jack, so it's 1/8 or a 3.5 millimeter jack. So it's a headphone jack, so 1/8 to XLR, plug it into the input, done or over with.
Right. So then basically you almost have like a wireless speaker. And then
I can take any speaker, make it wireless.
So just like I can use my phone, the phone app to control the EVs. I can go into the middle of the floor and turn them up and down and off. You'll be able to do that with using the transmitter. Going to the
again, the transmitter, looks like a microphone receiver, so it's a big one with a nice antenna. But it depends what I'm connected to. If I'm connected to the booth out feature on the mixer on the controller, because you have a booth out, that's usually you have your monitor on. So I don't have a monitor. I don't really use a monitor. I've used a monitor since back when I first started DJing, because just having, because I haven't found a need I need to have it, especially the speakers I use. But I can control the volume, so I can have, and I've done it plenty of times, speakers in other rooms, for cocktail that I'm controlling in the main room, one set, but I have speakers the room next to me or the room across the way from me. They have good signal. They have cocktail. The sound in the main room is the same music they have in the cocktail other area, but I could control the volume. So I had the volume down lower in that area and have it louder in the area I'm at.
Okay.
So I can control that.
Okay.
There's all boils down to there's so many different things you can do with it. It's a nice tool in the toolbox. And that's the thing. It's not an end all to be all. It's not, hey, you need to have this for everything. No. But there's certain venues I love using it at. One of the venues that I actually use Maui 5s at, I have one speaker on the other side for me and one speaker on my side. And again, I'm a split with a dance floor between us. I use a wireless speaker system. It's 4 AA batteries. They last 10, 12 hours. Done or over with.
Okay. Because I never thought about that. I'm going to look into that. Doing the
Yeah, that's right. I think if I remember correctly, Phoenix Pro has them as well. So there's different price points. The Sennheiser is expensive. You're talking, I want to say $1,400 for the transmitter and 2 receivers from Sweetwater. And then I have 2 more additional receivers. So I have 4 receivers. So I can do 4 speakers wirelessly.
And is it like my Phoenix Pro where even though I have 2 mics and 2 lapels, you can buy like 2 other mics. It's basically 4 channels, and you can mix match. So is with the in-ear monitors be like that?
No, it's a separate unit because you're reversing. The microphones are one transmitting, and the unit you have sitting in front of you is receiving. This is the opposite. So you're transmitting from where you're at to the receivers. So the little body packs, these are just receivers.
Okay.
So it's like having a FM radio station. The transmitter, I'm WBUDDY.
Right.
And all these are my little friends driving around in their cars or whatever. They're little Walkmans. We're going to go back to the 80s. We got Walkmans again. This is their Walkman. This is their car. This is their whatever. And they're receiving it off of this antenna, the signal I'm putting out. Now, the thing is that I usually, depending on what's going on, I have a couple different antennas. So I do have a shark fin. I haven't used it in a long time. If I'm looking at more directional, I get a little more distance when I hit. And when I hit one of these at good distance, I'll use a shark fin. Other than that, most of the time I use the quarter wave. Sometimes when I know it's a little more distance or maybe some interference, like that picture I sent you, I did a half wave, so it's a taller antenna. So and the antenna I got for Amazon. It's a BNC UHF antenna.
Okay.
Nothing crazy. It's like $12. The shark fin I have is that's an Audio Technica shark fin because you can also do receiving as well as transmitting.
Okay.
The antenna goes either way. The again, the stuff from Phoenix Pro you can look at again. In-ear monitor usually comes with 1 or 2 receivers and a transmitter. What they charge, I have no idea. But again, Sennheiser is they're worth their gold, and that right there, you have a couple different in-ear monitors. So I see the picture coming up.
Yeah. So that's the final floor plan where they moved the head table to the other side of the room. So I'm still in the same spot.
Okay, and then to your left is the archway, doorway to come in and out of the room.
Right.
Correct?
And then they put square tables going down the middle where the dance floor was originally. So they moved all those side tables to create the dance floor, so they're in front of the DJ booth now.
Okay. So if this is what they're going to do, which is again a slightly different setup, then we got to do things a little differently then.
Okay.
Because this is absolutely the wrong way to do this. They didn't make it simpler. They made it more difficult because you have the shortest distance between the dance floor wall and the far wall. So what you're going to do then, again, you're going to put both speakers, main speakers, you're going to have a speaker close to you, and then further down that wall on the dance floor. So that bottom part, that wall right against you, right behind you, to your right, you'd have one speaker. And then, 3/4 way down, you'd have another, again, two-way speaker.
Okay.
And they're going to be facing the other wall. Now, with this right here, because the distance is shorter, do you need side fill speakers? Probably not. What you might run into is reflective sound. You might run into echoing because of the wall being so close. Now, the reason why you want spread on the speakers, again, you want to fill, not be painful. A lot of DJs will do the boombox, put the speakers right next to them, and they'll have it really, really loud in that corner. And then the people in the far corner where it says, I don't know, gift tables can be, that table right there by the gift table will not hear what's going on because people absorb sound. So that's why you spread the two speakers, you put them flat against the wall, and you're firing them straight across.
Right.
Now, when a dance floor opens, right before that, you take the two speakers and you angle them in a little bit, put them at a little bit angle. So now you're covering more of the dance floor versus covering the whole room.
Okay. So, so if I got this right, we have one speaker close to me, off to my right, and it's shooting,
and one further down the wall.
Yeah, shooting straight across, almost like going down. Let's say the that in between the second row and third row of the.
No. It's the same wall as a dance floor.
Right. Yeah, the dance floor. But I'm
yeah.
saying how far down. If they're shooting,
you see where it says floor, the R?
Yep.
Probably about 10 feet after that.
Okay.
On that same wall. So both of them are facing. If we're looking at this northeast, southwest, where your booth is at, you're on the western side of this map.
Right.
So both speakers are going to face north.
Right.
In this map. So they're going to face that wall. So they're going to face the gift table. They're going to face that area there. Those boxes, I don't know what the square boxes are in front of the round tables.
Yep. Those are, the boxes are square tables and the round tables, the circles are round tables.
Okay. So they're going to be facing those square tables.
Okay.
The four square tables in the far side over there, all the way against, the corner, you're not going to go as far as that with the speaker. You want at least, you want some space between that and the speaker.
Right.
Now, they're going to be to the side of it. So that's why you want the speaker right against the wall about, a foot or so away. So when you put your tripod up, you want to make sure your two back legs, you always want your front legs, the two legs in the front and the third leg to the back, lessens the tripping hazard across the front. Okay. If you have the single leg sticking out, it's more of a tripping hazard. So you put the two legs in the front, one leg in the back. The one leg in the back should be almost touching the wall, or if touching that wall. And then again, it's a drape, it's a wall, whatever we're going to call it a wall for right now.
But what about if I just use the gravity stands?
Whatever stand you use.
Okay.
You're going to be basically right against that wall, within a foot or two of the wall. And the reason why that, because you have a spread on the speaker, you have 90 degrees. So you have a cone. You got to imagine a speaker is like a light. An array has, depending on the array, like the DB is 107, the Maui 5s are 120, the JH are 120. You get into the bows, they're 180 degree dispersion. When you get into a standard two-way speaker, EV, JBL, QSC, they're 90 degree angle. So you have basically think of the light coming out 90 degrees to each side. That's why you want to have it against the wall and back. So that way that angle is hitting those people on the side, but they're not getting hit hard.
Okay. They're
getting a sound, but they're not getting hit over the head. The people in front, like that far corner, the gift table, that's they're going to have the sound. But again, you're not blaring. You're not trying to be super loud.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have it spread out like that, you're going to cover that. When you turn this, when your dance floor comes open and you turn the speakers in slightly, you have enough space between the two that you're going to fill and cover the dance floor with people.
Mm-hmm. So basically, think of each speaker like this.
Yeah,
This
90
part.
degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
Yeah, you have a V.
right, and so you want to space them out so that the proverbial
The V's are coming out there and they're spreading nicely.
Mm.
If they're too close, that's when you start getting into the comb filtering and you start getting into phasing because the frequencies start bouncing each other and you start running into interference or cancel each other out.
Mm-hmm.
So when they're spread out more, they have more time to pass each other nicely. You still run into a little bit of comb filtering. You're never going to eliminate 100%,
Mm-hmm.
but it's going to be so little, people are not going to notice it.
So because you keep saying comb filtering and phasing, so what does that sound like?
Comb filtering is going to cancel frequencies. You're going to have a very big dip in audio. Phasing is going to give you that warbling, wobbling sound. If you're walked across a dance floor in front of your equipment, you hear the sound go up and down in waves as you're walking across. You're running into phasing. You're running into power lanes. You're running into all the bad sound stuff you want. You want pretty much even across. Now, again, there's always going to be a little bit of a dip in the center between two speakers, especially if you have a little separation, because you're not covering the area. You're further away from the source. Volume level goes down. But you're going to get a little bit of a dip, but you want to make sure it's clear and clean. Mm-hmm. So when you listen to songs, you listen to music, speech or whatever, and you're walking the room, you want to make sure it's clean and crisp and clear. You want to EQ it before you do speeches. So when you take the wireless microphone, you go against like where the gift table's at, or you go against that back wall, and you're doing check 1 2 1 2. Are you getting echo? Are you getting any kind of weird sound? Is there too much bass? Because too much bass will start giving you feedback. Too much bass will give you interference. So you want to go through all this and, kind of like, okay, I got to go back, adjust, come back out, test it again. You may have to do that 2 or 3 times in a room and basically ring out the room. Mm-hmm. It takes, 10 minutes or so to do, nothing crazy. But this right here, when people come in, you can ramp the volume up, but the room's not going to fight you. You're not going to get these offward sounds.
Okay. And
then you want to basically have the volume of the microphone as loud as you think you're going to go. You want to go to the extreme end to make sure you're not getting any kind of feedback or any funny sounds.
Okay. And then what about the subs? What is your opinion on using subs in there?
Oh, subs are fine. Again, how you want to run the subs? Do you want to run them? You want to run them separate? You want to run them coupled? You want to run a cardioid? How do you want to run them?
Normally I have
bass is omnidirectional.
What was that?
Bass is omnidirectional.
Okay, because I was going to say, normally if I bring my subs, it's usually have the 2 tops sitting on top of the subs.
Okay, that can create power alleys.
Mm-hmm.
The better way of doing it, if you want to have either 15 to 18s, 12s.
12s.
Okay. And you have a 12 top or 15 top on your EVs?
It's both 12s. Both
okay.
of them 12.
So if you want to have a little bit more hit of bass,
mm-hmm.
you take between the 2 subwoofers, between the 2 speakers, right against the wall, about a foot off, you take those 2 subs, you put them next to each other, and they're coupled. That will add 3 dB onto your bass.
Okay.
It will sound like you have an 18 going off.
Okay, so basically have the 2 tops on their own little speaker stand, and then in the middle of the 2 speakers have the 2
the subs. You couple it and you get it. Now the other, again, if you want a dance floor, that's where you want your energy, because the further you go away, bass drops off very quickly in volume. Mm-hmm. You could take both subwoofers and put them underneath your booth or right in front of your booth and couple them, and it will bleed out into the room. Again, bass is omnidirectional, so you can put subwoofers almost anywhere. Mm-hmm. What I always try to do is hide things, try to make things disappear. Mm-hmm. I want subwoofers, if I can do it hidden and stuff like that, because of the fact that I don't want people to know where stuff is at.
So it'll be fine putting it, because if I can put it underneath the DJ booth, that'll be great.
Yeah, if you can do that, you have to listen to it and listen to the room and see, does it work there. If you can hide it there, it's it's a very easy, simple thing to do, and it gives you a look. And I'm sending you, this is my my fun picture. I always like people go crazy for you. Sent you on Instagram. You should get it in a second or two.
Yep.
But that is the same speakers that I have in the other picture.
All right, so it should be coming up
they're
with
on
the blue lights.
Yep. They're on stands. They're German-made stand, so not gravity stands. They're a German-made stand. They were actually a little more unique. And you don't see the bottom halves of the units. They're hidden. So I'm taking the DBs have dual 12-inch woofers. Each one has a dual 12. And then uncoupling that, they're back to back. So they're not firing forward, they're actually back to back, which gives it cardioid feel to it. Because when you do cardioid, you put one forward, one backward firing. These are firing back to back. So the bass there was so intense in front. And when I was there, I had one employee with me, and of course Tracy, and we were sitting there. The dance floor was open, and I sat down for a second, and I told because I wanted to talk to my employee. He's like, the bass is crazy. I grabbed a sheet of paper, and the table was open underneath, and I just put the sheet of paper, and the piece of paper was fluttering with the bass coming out from underneath there, because it's just basically coming back, hitting that wall, coming back around, and it just filled the room with bass. They had 180, 190 people that wedding. So it was another good amount of people. It wasn't like a small wedding. And this is why having multiple speakers for multiple things is important.
Right.
But if you can take the two subs and hide them underneath your booth and put them next to each other, you can get a lot of bass. That's the other thing, is that you want to deal with that bass. Is the booth open fabric that the sound's going to come through the fabric? No problem. But if you don't, if you hide them on the dance floor, put them in between the two speakers, you put them on the dance floor, you can hide it some way, somehow, that, people don't know they're there. The best thing to do is hide them in plain sight, but you also just don't want two subwoofers sitting there, because people are like, oh, look, a seat. Oh, look, I put my drink down. So you want to do things to make them get away. You can buy very easily a foldable facade from Rockville or something like that, just big enough to put the two subs behind, put the facade up there, and just have it around the corner right there. People won't know what it is, a black facade, because there's nothing to put down anything on. It's empty behind it. They don't know there's subs down there. They're like, oh, there's nothing here. I can't put anything down. So again, you want to do things, but you also want to hide things, so that way people don't see things,
Right.
And I can tell you on this picture how many times people have told me that those speakers right there, that is sound bars. I'm like, okay.
So they don't have to, but you got a wire that goes, because I know with like most column arrays, I thought they had to be connected in order for the sound to come from the subwoofer to the tops.
Yeah, you're powering it, but the thing is that you don't on the RCF, on the DBs, on K array, which I have a K array. basically the top half and the bottom half is just basically a sub hole, and then you have a speak-on cable going from the top to the bottom. So it's like having to pass a speaker on top, and your amplifier is built into the bottom part of the unit. So yeah, there's a power going up there, but that's hiding cables. That's hiding things, so things are not seen. This is, this is the craziness I go into when I say things. Those little plant stands. We have those plant stands. We bought them off of Amazon, so we have those plant stands. Those are Astera lights. The wedding I've come up this weekend, we're gonna use all 6 Asteras because they're going to our platinum package. So we're gonna be doing some stuff differently. Remember last time I had my platinum package, so it will be photos will be coming soon.
Okay, cool.
So, Mike,
yeah, he's been quiet.
Yeah,
I'm not used to him being so quiet.
I was studying the
I feel bad because I'm taking up all your time. Usually you're talking and
I was studying the picture of the room that Dwayne's going to be DJing at, and every picture, I mean, they changed everything around except for Dwayne. He's stuck in the middle, or not in the middle, at the end. And they addressed the tables. They put the bride and groom all the way over in the corner, which I think is totally wrong from the venue standpoint. Bride and groom should be front and center. So they are the main attraction. You stick them in the corner, that's totally wrong. Take those 4 tables that they had over here, put them back in the corner. Take Dwayne, put him in the middle, facing all tables. So you have the dance floor in front of you and on both sides of you. Instead of Dwayne being stuck all the way down here in the corner. Well, I don't know. There you go. Dwayne stuck all the way down here in the corner, and then he's shooting music and everything down to everybody, and the people that are out here in front on this side of them. I mean, I'm looking at the room and I am thinking, this venue really doesn't know what they are doing, and believe me, a lot of venues don't know what they're doing. They all of a sudden we're a wedding venue and they really don't know how to set up for anything. It's just unfortunate that these people, they become owners of a venue and they're walking into something they have no clue what to do. See, now where Dwayne set up out there, right? He's down here in the left-hand corner. They have the 4 tables off to his, down to his right. They have the 4 tables across the middle. They have all the round tables, right? Which is 20 tables. So that's 200 people. And then you got the 4 tables there. And then the other, I guess the shorter 4 tables are going to be 4-foot tables. So you can put 4 people at them each. So that's 8 people there. Even with all those tables there, that's still ain't enough for 300 people. But take the bride and groom out of that corner. Put them over here. Right, take those 4 tables there. Those 4 tables, put them in the back.
Let me see.
Kurt, buy a DBX drive rack. Yeah, drive racks are awesome to have. It helps out quite a bit, especially if you run the mic and you ring out the room with the microphone that comes with it. You set it up, put it on the mic stand in the middle of the room, and it sends a signal out. And you move the stand like 3 or 4 times. It's been a while since I did one with my DBX, but also you could do it through EQ too. You can set up through EQ for to get that feedback. Most of the time, feedback usually a frequency or so, and you can usually find that frequency by going through the 3-band EQ and adjusting it down, and overcoming things.
Yeah, I got a Behringer feedback killer because I was trying to find the DBX unit too, the one that
a drive rack.
Yeah, Brian had mentioned because it was like
that's the other one. Yeah, they don't make those anymore.
Yeah, I know, and they sold the last one the day I went up there. He's like, "Oh, we just sold it." So I used the feedback destroyer from.
I have 2 of those, but I also have a full 19-inch unit DB drive rack that actually sits in. I have it in a case, and that you run your mains into and your mains out, and that you actually plug a microphone. Has a XLR part in the front, and it comes with a microphone. You put it onto a mic stand, and you put it. It's been a while since I do it, and I've read the owner's manual in a while, so if I'm wrong, you can tell me. I want to say 20 or 30 feet, kind of in the middle of the room. You put it there on the stand, and it sends a signal through the speakers, and it basically rings out the room for you automatically.
Yeah.
That's why I like my QSC Touch Mix 8 that has that feedback built right into it. Again, now looking at that picture, no matter what, they have Dwayne all the way up in the corner, and it put him in the middle of that area in front of the dance floor. That is the best place for him. I mean, again.
Well, again, it's the room is a rectangle, and where he is at in the corner, it's not a bad area. I sent you a couple other pictures, Dwayne, of another room. This was Marriott, and where they stuck me, I had to do the one thing I hate is having the speakers right next to me, because I didn't want that, but I didn't have much of a choice.
Yes,
I didn't have the uplighting in this room. The uplighting was done by the facility. But yeah, this is a difficult one. It's not the most difficult one I've run into, but what you have going on is a difficult area. Now, if the wedding I did at Marriott, I did have the Maui's outside in the hallway for cocktail. So they had wireless outside. I didn't run the speakers inside wirelessly because I wanted to control the volume separately. That means I would have to have another wireless unit. So I'm like, okay, I want to run those separately outside and then have the ones inside basically off or way down. So I ran it out of the booth out. So I forego what I would do if I ran all four wirelessly or ran two wirelessly as remote. But this was I want to say it was 200 people.
Yeah, it should be coming up. Yep, it just came up.
So I had to, which I wasn't a big fan for, is have my speakers right next to me like that. I don't like running a lot like that.
So how do you like
how
do you like to have your speakers spread out?
I like them out at least further than that. But the doorway each side, and this is where they always put the DJ. But if you go to the next picture or so, you'll see I got a picture shot down the wall,
all right,
looking to the other side, and I'm like, man, I should have put the speakers over there. But there's so many doorways because each room can be. This room is big, and they have floating walls, so they can make like 3 or 4 rooms out of one room.
Okay.
Staff there was phenomenal. It's just again, it's you do the Monday morning quarterbacking afterwards. You're like And again, if you notice the speaker cables are you don't notice the speaker cables because yeah, I have multiple colors of tape. That's my point of view, and you can see there's tables between me and the dance floor, and where the head table's at. The head table was probably 45 feet away.
And then let me see. Let me go to the other one. And this one. That's the same one. That's the same one. That, all right.
I've walked into venues and I told them, listen, if you want this to work right, you have to let me set up, or I want to set up, and I will make it sound amazing. And they were a little reluctant at first, and then the owner came out, and I said, listen, you have everything. And I had enough room to set up where I wanted to, and it was just a matter of running an extension cord down instead of putting the fill speakers in, that you're running the XLR wire down. Or again, you could use the inner monitors, but Dwayne doesn't have them, so then he has to run XLR cable down here, an XLR cable across the room, and then back down this side. So I mean, you're talking a lot of gaff tape, a lot of XLR wire. It's just unfortunate that this. Yeah. Yeah.
I have
Oh
a
yeah.
gaff gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
People talk about these. I have one.
Oh yeah. I mean, they work great.
This is not cheap. This is a gaff gun. I
Yeah.
have one. I'll be using it this weekend. It's one of the things that.
But I mean, in Dwayne's case, Dwayne, I'm not going to ask you how much you're charging for this wedding at this event, but you're talking, you're going to run into. I'm looking at that room. I want to say it's at least 80 foot long, so 40 foot, and then another 20, 40, 100 feet of gaff tape. So you're going to go through a whole roll of gaff tape, which is roughly good gaff tape. You're spending $75 for the roll, if not more. Again, with your knowledge of music, I would approach the venue manager, the owner, and ask him, listen, I think it'd be beneficial to the couple, to the guest, if I set up here instead of setting up here. Now, you're up here by the door also. So now you're running gaff tape through the doorway. Yes, you're going to tape it down, but still you have that chance somebody could, I don't know if there's going to be children at the wedding or whatever. If there is, they could get over there and they could start peeling up the gaff tape, tripping hazard. There's so many different things that could.
Well, yeah, when you're running cabling that far, that's why I'm a very big supporter of wireless speaker systems. I know there's a couple other manufacturers. They make one plugs into the XLR of the transmitter, one plugs into the receiver. You find them on Amazon. I think it's like $80 or $100 or whatever they are.
Oh, yeah.
There's
X Live or something.
Yeah, there's a couple of them. They have lithium-ion batteries in there. I have not used one of those. I know I've seen people who have used them. I know one person has them. He loves them. I just look at it. There's not an external antenna. You can't adjust the output. I can't. There's.
I think they're only running 2.4 gigahertz, and the other ones like the
some run 2.4, but I've seen other ones running UHF.
Sennheiser and X5, they're running at 5.8 gigahertz, which is UHF. So you're not going to get no interference. But again, does Dwayne want to invest that money for this wedding?
I already got two sets of the Sennheiser ones, because I did it for my church. Like when I had to play sound from the back of the church to the speakers up front, I had like these two dongle things that you plug in, and I would say 90% of the time they're reliable. A couple of times they want to act funky and not connect or
sometimes
drop
you can run
out.
into that.
But I think it was mainly because I didn't charge it before I used it. I let it sit a couple of days, and then that's what happened.
I have the
Mike said, Will says Mike's got gaff, son.
I have the QFC K12.2s, and what I like about them, they have two holes underneath. So if you haven't set on the back holes, they're shooting straight out. If you haven't set on the front holes, the speakers are tilted down. They're not straight up like that, at an angle down. And in that room, even though it's a concrete floor, I'd rather bounce the music off the concrete floor than have it hitting the wall in front of me and then hitting the ceiling, that metal ceiling. I'd rather hit the concrete before metal any day.
I would not angle speakers down. Only time you angle speakers down is when you're on stage, you're trying to aim down. And the reason why is that you have a 50-degree cone on most speakers coming out horizontally. Horizontally is 90. Vertically, it's 50-degree cone. So that cone at 50 degrees, if you angle it down, you're going to force a lot of sound down, and you'll get reflective sound back up, and you're going to create. You could create some sound headaches. If you're on a stage, you're 10 feet off the ground, and you have people right in front. That's great. If you're doing speech, you still run straight because you want to project further back.
Yeah.
The best place, you know, if you're on a stage, is the speakers on the ground, on the floor, if possible. You do, if you're again, you're going to start flying speakers, run arrays. Those are totally different thing. But most people, I see them, you know, they're on stage. You put both speakers on the stage. If you can, again, every situation is different. You'd always try to have speakers on the ground. And the reason why, again, it's less likely you're knocking them off. Plus, also you're not shooting sound over people's heads. But you know, have to look at the situation. Every situation is different. There's no perfect situation. Like, sorry, I just showed the pictures I sent to Dwayne. Normally, I would have speakers not near me that close. I would have them further apart. But you saw in that doorway, there's doors all the way down that wall because, again, they could make that room into 5 separate smaller rooms. And because of that, I'm like, I'm not gonna run the XLR cable all the way down there because that's a tripping hazard. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to run wireless. I'm already running wireless outside. So it's kind of one of those things like, okay, I'm going to have to, you know, go plan B.
I mean, again, I don't know what Dwayne's charging for this wedding, and
$3 million.
I mean, you have to think of it. What's going to make your job easier, and what's going to make it sound great for the couple. And again, you look where they're setting the bride and groom. The bride and groom are so far out of the way from the guest. Bride and groom should be dead center. I mean, they should, because they're the in a track. So them dead center, and people are going to be right there for them. And even if they don't put them dead center, take them from that back. Take them, put them where those 4 tables are that they have set up down at the end there. I mean, putting them back in the corner, that shows me right there, this venue, this manager, whoever is the owner of this venue, has not one clue.
Well, it looks like, and I might be wrong, Dwayne, is this like a church or some other public building?
It's a bouncy house, a fun house that they also can, because
they own the.
When you saw the picture, you saw the bouncy stuff. It's almost like a Chuck E. Cheesy kind of establishment, but they also rent it out for like weddings and banquets and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
See, well, so right there, proves me that the manager right there does not know what they're doing for a wedding. Setting the bride and groom up in the corner, that's a no-no. You know, buddy, you should know that right off the bat.
You don't put baby in the corner.
never stick buddy in the corner, right?
If anything, they should be along that wall. And even if they're on the dance floor, the head table, they can take the head table after dinner and break down the head table, or just have them do a sweetheart table.
Yes.
And the two of them, they're the focal point.
Yes, exactly.
They should be the focus of everything.
Yep.
Them off to the side, they're not the focal point. They feel disconnected from the rest of their guests. Mm-hmm. They handpicked all those people to be there, friends, family. They asked these people to join them on their special day. And with them off to the side, this is the way you have to look at it. This is the way Tracy and I look at it when we do stuff. They are the king and queen of the night.
Yes.
Exactly. They are the royals. We're all just, at best, I'm a jester.
I'm not even that. I'm just a hired hand. I'm a peasant.
But the royal court is the people standing up to the wedding, and then the subjects are all dignitaries or the guests. Those are the important people. We are humble servants to serve them. And the thing is that, yes, we have a little bit of pecking order on that because, again, we're there to serve them and help them. But it's a teamwork between us, the photographer, the videographer, the caterer. If there's a event planner or event coordinator, if there's an event manager, if there's a facility manager, it's teamwork between everyone there to facilitate this wedding for the two of them. At the end of the day, and this is the thing that Tracy and I do, we want our couples to come in enjoy themselves, celebrate with their friends and family, and for them to go home with great memories of a beautiful, if we do it a ceremony or just a reception, they had fun, their friends had fun, and they're blown away by it. They're like, oh my God, this was the best ever.
Yes.
And
And
that is by making them the ones, shining and making them up on the pedestal. Them in the corner, if I was a facility manager, I wouldn't do that. I would have that room totally different.
I mean, that buddy right there, that proves the way they even have this set up the first time. They're up here as soon as you walk in the door. Next picture, they're down here in the corner. That proves to me this venue manager or whoever, the owner, they really don't know how to set up for a wedding.
But actually,
No, and again-
actually, let me just clarify that, because you keep saying venue owner. I don't want to put it on the venue owner. This is the coordinator.
Okay, well, that's even
that's
more,
so.
yeah,
I don't want them to.
Whoever decided,
I don't
whoever
want to
decided this, but
wedding coordinator, because
The
I
ve-
just
the-
worked with one who had no clue. They had the ceremony system set up, which they charged $500 for, two Samsonic speakers that were probably about 30 years old, if not older. They had them set up in the venue, and the ceremony was up in a field about 3/4 a mile away. And she was, oh my God, they're not supposed to be here. Can you break them down? Can you use them? I'm like, there's nothing labeled on the back of these speakers. I first of all, I don't want to use somebody else's equipment. If it's the prior DJ might have blown the speaker, I don't want that on my head. I want to use my equipment. So I didn't get a chance to set up for the reception. I had to take my speaker, my mixer, my controller. Then I had to set up 150 feet away from the little gazebo. I had to run 150 foot of extension cord, 150 foot of XLR cable to go into an old beat up SM58, but that still worked great. The thing is, these wedding coordinators, they have one thing in mind. They want to make the tables look pretty, make these little twinkly lights look pretty. They're not really thinking of the couple, they're thinking of themselves. They want to make themselves shine. Who do they come to when there's a problem? They go to the DJ. When are we going to cut the cake? Wedding coordinator has it down. Okay, we're going to cut the cake at 6:38. Well, some things happen, the bride had to go to the bathroom, whatever, or the groom had to go to the bathroom. So they're running behind. Well, let's ask the DJ when he thinks we should do it. Not picking on wedding coordinators. I worked with some fine wedding coordinators, but I worked with a lot more that had no clue what they were doing. Everything is they rely on the DJ. They want the DJ's advice. Dwayne, in this situation, you know music. You've been a music teacher. You know how sound travels through a room, through a gymnasium. I would talk to the owner and say, this is where I think I should set up. I think the bride and groom should be set up here. I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but just hear me out, listen to me, and even take your speaker there with you and take your controller and say, here, I'm going to set up here where you want me to, and listen how the sound is. Now I'm going to set up here where I want to, and listen how the sound is. I mean, even if you have to go there a week before, this way.
But if it's the wedding coordinator who is saying this is the floor plan we're going with, the first thing pushback to give back is the bride and groom approve this. And that's the thing, is that the bride and groom don't do this every weekend versus we do.
Exactly.
And they don't understand sound. We're supposed to understand sound. But sometimes, again, you have to pick your.
Don't understand sound either. I'm sorry to say that.
You also had to pick your battles, Mike. It's one of the things that you have to look at and go, is it worth going in there, dragging equipment in there, and showing, I am DJ, I am almighty? No. Sometimes you gotta say, and again, Tracy will be the first one if she was here right now, saying that I get upset. I can vent to her. She is usually the coordinator. She's usually the time manager, so she can go in and talk to a venue. And I talked to a venue weeks before, and the person who's in charge of it, if I can talk to them, say, hey, you know what? Have you thought about this or that? It's not that I'm pushing back. It's I'm trying to give them some
Your
options.
advice.
Maybe they have not thought it. Maybe they don't have the experience I have, or they do,
Exactly.
and they talk to the couple, and this is what the couple really, really wants because they want the 4 tables right there in the corner, due to the fact of fill in blank. So there's a lot of factors there we're not aware of. We're looking
Yes.
at this as third party, and sometimes it's it's one of the things. It's a bad sandwich, and sometimes you gotta eat it. You gotta hold your nose, take bites, and chew, and
Yeah.
and go through it and work through it. And this is why I'm not saying, hey, you know what, they shouldn't be here, they shouldn't be there. Yeah, again, if I had the design to be totally different, and I said that before, just like you said it, we understand this, but someone coming at it, it could be for decorations, it could be what they're doing, it could be a theme. There could be so many things in there, so many factors that we're unaware of. And us saying, oh well, we know everything. We don't. We're looking at a piece of paper, we're looking at stuff going, I wouldn't do that. But ultimately, who has to say so is the couple. It's their day.
Well,
The coordinator, the coordinator or wedding planner or event planner can go to them and go, hey, you know what about this or that? The bride and groom have the ultimate say so. And with this right here, you got to run with it. It's not a hard plan. Is it a perfect plan? No. It can't be done? Sure. Way I would do it, like I said before, the EVs, the 12s, just put along that wall there, the subs underneath the DJ booth. During the first part, I would probably have the subs on
Yeah, I don't.
no.
until the
Not
dance
for
floor.
speeches.
A 12-inch. This is something I've heard from a few people. The best speakers to have. There's a couple of ways you can do it. A 10-inch with a 15-inch subwoofer, a 12-inch with an 18-inch subwoofer. Those are the combinations that a lot of you talk to the sound engineers, they love going to. And I wish I would have known that a long time ago. I have 15s for my PRX, and I had 15s for my SRX, and for everything. If I would have known that, I would have gotten 12s or 10s. But like a 10-inch, a 12-inch speaker, the difference between a 12-inch and a 15 is just the size of the woofer. A nice 12-inch has some really good sound. EV has really good sound.
Yes.
They have a nice push. They have a nice tweeter. JBL, QSC, you can go down their list. LD, the Koa series. Any of your two-way speakers, a good quality one, you're going to have some great sound out of it. Now, again, you go to a little bit more, depending on what level, you go to the more, price conscious ones. They're going to do decent, but again, you have to know your equipment. How can you push it? Are you pushing it too far? And that's why I'm saying that, 212s against that wall, and again, because you have space between them, they're firing, but you don't have to make them loud because there's space between, you're covering more area. You're getting you're casting sound wider. So you don't have to be right on top and being really loud to hit the back wall. You have the separation, and then you're filling the area with sound. This is one of the things that one of the guys I know, and Mike knows him, John Colley out in Boston. He's doing a lot of professional sound, and they're doing conferences all during the daytime. And they'll do like a 10 or 15 or 20 foot video display with a couple QSE K12s.
Yeah.
Or a couple JBL PRX 712s or 710s for speeches. And they'll have light background music.
Yeah.
And have it sound perfect and good. And these are high conferences. These are like, the other day they had some famous people they had to do conferences for, big companies. They do this all the time. And that's the thing, is that what you're doing the first half is background music. Again, you want people to enjoy the music. You're having speeches. You want to make sure you get clarity and cleanliness. And then you run into, the dance floor later on. And that's why I'm saying that, the way to do it, you have your little speech, and that's when you turn the speakers in. Not much. You're taking only a few degrees. You're just taking them and just turn them in just a little bit, just to get a little bit more power into the dance floor, because you want the energy in the dance floor, and that's when you turn your subs on. You have the subs together underneath your booth. they're gonna be very bright right there, but
You
listen
do
to
them
it go out on the
reversed.
floor and listen to how it sounds.
You do the subs the reverse, one facing out, one facing you.
Your
And
cardioid.
cardioid, and it's unbelievable sound. And buddy, I mean, you see my setup. My son does my setup for me. He's 6'4", and the bottom of the speaker, the 12-inch speaker, the QSE or my EVs are at the top of his head. So actually, that speaker is 7 foot up off the ground. We're blowing music over everybody's head. Nobody's complaining. Oh, it's too loud. They're walking by. Oh, it's too loud. They're enjoying. I could crank it up as loud as I want, and I don't have nobody complaining that it's too
And
loud.
that's the mark of having good sense of sound. Plus, again, buying a sound meter, you can get
I
the
have
app on your phone,
that.
but having a sound meter is nice because again, you can see what's going on during cocktail, during dinner. But the speaker's too loud, you can go out there a couple times, check on a dance floor, walk to the nearest table. Just someone says, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm just checking the sound, make sure it's not too loud for you."
Yeah,
People see that the couple sees that, they see that you care, that you're doing some extra steps. They really feel that, okay, this DJ knows what they're doing.
now,
It's not busy work, but so it's things that you're doing to guard and stop from problems happening.
yeah,
Because I get once in a while, I get someone coming up going, "This is too loud. There's too much bass, too much this," and I'm like looking at everything. I'm like, I cut the bass down for cocktail and dinner. The
yeah,
subs are knocked down. It's
I know.
like, okay, I have the sound meter. It's at like 68 decibels, 67, and it bounces around. And I'm hearing conversation for the table next to me. I'll go, okay, let me see. I'll adjust it. Tell me if it's okay, and I'll look like I'm doing something, and
Yeah.
oh, okay, it's better. They walk back. The sound level's still the same. That's to me is the big judgment: is can I hear? Can I go out there? Can I walk? Can I walk the room a little bit? Can I hear a conversation? I don't want to listen to a conversation going on. Can I hear the table? Are people, are they covering their ears? Or they look like they're in pain? Or they're having a conversation, enjoying each other's company?
Now, I don't want to get off topic. I want to get back to Dwayne's situation. I mean, have you spoke to this wedding coordinator, Dwayne?
Yeah, I spoke to her Sunday. And that's
Okay.
when I found out that she did this new thing because that's not what we had discussed. I'm like,
Now,
and
are you
then she said that she talked to Kim, and Kim, when she talked, not let's say Kim, the bride. When she talked to the bride, she said the bride said whatever Dwayne said. That's the floor plan that we should go with. So
well,
I'm
guess
like,
what?
that's why when I got the one with the dots, that's why I'm surprised. I'm like, that's not even what we had discussed on Sunday. So that's why I wanted to bring it to you all, see what you all thought. So when I talk to the couple
Dwayne,
in the next couple of days, I at least I know what I'm talking about, or I should say I should have some solid information to use to make the call.
well, she gave you the green light when she said, "Let's see what Dwayne has to say."
Mm-hmm.
Dwayne, how many years have you been a music teacher?
It
All
seemed like
that
forever.
experience. I mean, you take that experience, and you know what? You show this wedding coordinator. I think this is where I should. When is the wedding?
Next Saturday.
Okay, so if you have time, even this weekend or even early next week, ask if she can meet you there, and even just bring one speaker and bring your little
But Mike,
control.
I would not say that. You're chasing after her,
Mm-hmm.
and
No,
she's
no,
going to be like, "What? You're coming at me." I can tell
no.
you right
Well,
now.
she gave Dwayne the green light because she told the bride it's whatever Dwayne says. So take his experience and let him build off that. And this wedding coordinator may learn, and it seems like she wants to learn. As soon as she gave Dwayne the green light, man, that's it. I'd be all over that because this way you're gonna teach her something that if she has to come back to this place to set up for another wedding, she's gonna say, "All right, I'll listen here. I worked with Dwayne before. This is my original plan, but this is where he said it would sound better, and he proved it to me. It did sound better." So, I mean, your knowledge, it's up to you. I don't want to make the call for you, but if somebody
I
gave me
don't
the
want
green light,
I
would
don't
be a
want to
little
do
bit.
all that extra stuff. I'm already cutting her a
One
deal.
speaker, your little controller, that's only a half hour, if that. You know,
So
it's
out of the
it's.
three pictures, which one do
I
you
would
think that you like? The top left, top right, or the bottom left?
None of them. I'll be
I
honest with
mean, you
you.
have to choose one of them because none of them,
Okay.
to me, none of them really is the best because they got too many people for that room.
Well, first of all, I like the top left where it says dance floor
Mm-hmm.
in the purplish color. The only thing I disagree with that picture is where the bride and groom are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the only thing right there.
Because I said though, it's basically the same thing as the one to the right. Cause that's the one that I said if we had to do something. Because one, when you come in, the head table and she's saying that they had a large wedding party. So I'm like, why are you gonna put the wedding party table in the corner? Because that means you're gonna have to come way off the wall to fit everybody. Because that little table is not the size of that table that's on the right hand side. So that
yeah. Now, see, I did a wedding something similar a few weeks ago at a barn, and tables that are coming down the middle, on the right hand picture of from the dance floor one, it says dance floor on it.
mm-hmm.
They had the wedding party set up on those tables coming straight down, which worked out perfect. The dance floor was right in front of me, which wasn't bad. That wedding coordinator really didn't know. She didn't have a clue, and she's been a wedding coordinator for over 15 years already. I mean, she had no clue when should we cut the cake, when should we do this, and I told her, I said, "You've been doing this for so long, you should know this." I mean, yeah, you want to rely on me, that's fine. I have over 20 years experience, but the picture to the right, to my right of where it says dance floor.
Mm-hmm.
If they had the wedding party coming down the middle, the sweetheart table at the end, having the bride and groom face all the guests, that would work perfect too. Instead of having them back up against the wall, it's a very hard venue to really 300 people in that area. That's tough. I mean, it's a really tough call. I would rather, again, like I said, I'm it's not my mind. I'm saying I would rather take a half hour or 40, even an hour out of my time than to have 4 or 5 hours of misery that night. You know, this way I know what I'm doing. I'm showing the wedding pointer what I want to do, how the sound's going to sound in the two different locations, and it's maybe 1 hour, maybe an hour and a half. And she's gonna see, your knowledge of the music, how it's gonna sound from either direction. Um, I would rather spend that hour and a half instead of how long is the wedding? How many hours?
I think it's 5. They said 6 to 10.
Okay,
They said 6 to
4 hours.
10, but if you're getting married at 3, and
Well,
usually when they did it, they didn't have like the cocktail hour and all that. So I said we're gonna probably start at 5.
yeah.
If you're getting married at 3, service is over with at about 4:30. People are gonna start coming.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I mean, 5 hours of misery because you're in an area that you really have to play around with the sound all night long, or an hour and a half of meeting with the wedding coordinator, giving some of your knowledge to her. And
Actually,
you don't know.
actually, to be honest with you, it's a mute point because I was with them when we all went to the venue. So
Oh,
that's why
okay.
I'm saying when she came with that second, I mean that latest diagram, it's like it's a mute point. I'm already know who I'm dealing and what I'm dealing with because we
Yeah,
all were
okay.
there at the venue, and So
Yeah. Well, so okay. I didn't know that part. You were there.
yeah, so
already.
it wasn't like I went there and they didn't go. We were all there and we all discussed because there was a couple of other options that they had up there that
Well,
I vetoed because I like that doesn't work for me because where I'm gonna put my speakers if you got people all right there, I don't want to be putting it right in their ear.
no, I know exactly what you mean. If I was going to go one, I would go with the one that says dance floor with the purple letters. And I would just advise the couple to bring themselves out of the corner, up, move those 4 tables, put them back in the corner, and have them up where the 4 tables are there. That would be my top choice right there.
So you would basically, what you're saying, have them against the long wall in the middle.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Because also, you got to take it also in account, this is not an open room either. So, therefore, there's pillars. If you looked at the pictures, there's pillars right where, in between the column, 3rd column, and 5th column. Because remember, if I pull up the picture, there was like where you had the beam, there's like 2 pillars.
Yeah, I would still, I'd rather have them have the pillars in between them than being stuffed in the corner because
I didn't want them to be in the corner.
You know, you take a couple of your uplights, you put them behind them, put one uplight behind the cake and a couple of uplights behind them. That's going to show them right off. Even if you put 8 uplights behind them and they're stuck in the corner, people are going to look back in the corner. You're going to see the 8 uplights. They may not even notice the bride and groom. They're just going to see the uplights. That's all it's going to be. You know,
to me, logistically, that doesn't make sense to put them there because how you going to walk out? It's like. So which one do you think, buddy?
I'm doing something right now. I'm going to send it to you in a second.
Okay. So while you doing that, we can come back to visit that one. Let's do it. I did my wheel again. I like to show off my wheel. This is all speaker myths. And again, if you're still in the comment section with us live on the stream, you can put your reply in the comment section too. All right. Let me move all these pictures out the way. Boom. Boom. All right, let's see what the question or the comment is going to be for this week.
I'm coming through the room, turn the bass up. Y'all been sleeping on me, better wake up. Put your fly gear on, do your makeup, drop it real low.
All right, so the comment is, you can't get good bass without dual 18 subs. Is that true or disagree?
It depends.
Mm-hmm. But I was going to say, but you said you can get good bass with the 15s or the smaller ones if you
a 12.
Yeah, if you
couple adds more bass. But I had my Yorkville subs were dual 10s. They're horizontally opposed dual 10s in subwoofers. They sound like an 18. It all boils down to, to me, for bass, I want clarity. I want clean sounding bass, not distorted. And to me, it's the quality of the equipment you get. Having an 18, 18 is nice. It has more air, more push. The SPL is higher. The question is, do you need it? Do you need a dual 18? Do you need a dual 21? I think that if you're doing maybe permanent install in a theater, if you're doing a EDM concert, and again, the question is, what are you trying to cover? Mm-hmm. What is the ultimate goal? What is your goal you're trying to cover? Is it a wedding and you have 300 people, dual 18 airflow? Okay, that's going to give more airflow. It's going to have a good push. Mm-hmm. A wedding of 70 people, do you need dual 18s? No, it's overkill. Do you need a subwoofer at all with 100 people? Sometimes no. It all boils down to what the clientele, what is the goal. And if you don't know your goal, again, yes, no. What is the goal? It's kind of a wide open question. There's no right answer to it because there's so many questions to that because you don't have a goal. You don't your goal, you can't answer it.
I seen your pictures, buddy, of the venues that you're at. Honestly, that those venues are amazing. And here in northeastern Pennsylvania, I mean, the Woodlands, they have it's a big area, and they break it down into smaller rooms so they can hold more events and more weddings at it. So very rarely will you have, say, three sections of the big giant room. Genetics is the same way. Basically, you have one and a half of the room, and then somebody else has another one and a half of a room, and then somebody has a quarter of a room. So it's like they have the venues like you're shown. I mean, they're amazing, amazing. I wish we had them around here, but my average weddings now. I just did one. It was 93 people. Basically, ever since COVID, everything has been. I think the biggest event was like 110 people, and that was a large. To me, that was a large wedding. It was one of the largest ones I did since COVID. Prior to COVID, 250, 300. I did a junior senior prom. We had 583 students at. I mean, that was gigantic. And another one was over 600 students. I did a cheer competition down at it's the AHL hockey rink, the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. There was 3,000 people there. I mean, it was spectacular. And I was out in Middle Ice DJing it. The thing that since COVID hit, it's just like, and a lot of venues sold out. They just closed up. That's it. The venue that I got converted over to an apartment building now. So just times are hard, and people are going for backyard weddings, and they're going for basically, it's hard to say. It's everything got downsized. Some venues did incorporate that to their venue. Some say that's it. We're done. We're folding up. That's all. So it's just sad.
All right, let's do a couple more. Here's the next one.
I'm coming through the room, turn the bass up. Y'all been sleeping on me, better wake up. Put your fly gear on, do your makeup, drop it real low.
It's better to crank the volume than add more speakers.
No. No.
Yep. As soon as you blow your speaker and then redline and distorting. So here's another one.
Headlining.
So how do you add speakers? I mean, like, I know there's a rule. If you have one, to get more sound, you double it. So you need to have two. If you have two, by adding a third one doesn't increase the sound. You got to double it. So that means you have to have four speakers.
Four. Yeah.
So this is where you run into people putting speakers next to each other. And what you run into with that, you start running it into the comb filtering. You start running into the phasing. Comb filtering more than phasing, but you run into phasing as well. And if you're going to need to run multiple speakers, you want to actually run arrays because they're designed to stack. And I'm not talking about the low line arrays like the DB and stuff like that. I'm talking about the bigger arrays. You run a 10 or 12 array. You run either 2, 3, 4, 8, whatever you need to do, and you stack them. And then you're actually, if you got a lot of people, you're flying them. If you got to do side fill, then again, you do a side fill speaker with a delay. You start getting into more of the sound engineering side of things. And you start getting into subwoofers placements and stuff like that. It's one of the things that subs you always double. Speakers, yeah, you can double, but again, unless you are have them off to each way to 90 degrees point each direction opposite. Like if I was doing, if I had a large rectangle room in the center and I was in the center, speakers firing forward and then speakers firing sideways. I can do that because the cones are not interfering with each other. The sound's going so far out by the time the two cones do intersect, you're not going to run into much problem because you're so far out. The frequencies are not going to interfere too heavily. When they're right next to each other, they're face to face, within a couple inches, and they're both firing forward like that. That's when you run into problems with sound. And that's, you start running into that. You actually lessen your sound. You lower your dB level. Now, again, you can engineer it and you can cross over. You can do certain things that have the two speakers do two different things at the same time. You can have more mid-range come out one, more higher come out the other one. The other thing also, you got to make sure all the speakers are the same down if you're doing that. You can't have two different manufacturers, two different models. Everything's the same because you want equal frequencies. You want stuff to work right. And if you want to do two speakers next to each other, you could run a 10 millisecond delay between the two speakers, but then you could run into, why does the speaker sound like it's behind? Why do I hear a lag? Why do I hear an echo? So you're better off running two really good speakers. And then if you need to have a big room, run some side fill, then running, just two big, huge, giant speakers next to each other and running 4 speakers. There's ways of doing it, but it takes a lot of work to do it right.
Mm-hmm. All right. And one more, and then we'll go to the next segment.
Coming through the room, turn the bass up. Y'all been sleeping on me, better wake up. Put your fly gear on, do your makeup, drop it real low.
Speaker placement doesn't matter if your gear is high end. And I think we just answered that all throughout the whole show.
It doesn't matter what you spend. You have to place the speakers properly. You could spend $10,000 on a speaker system, and if you don't have them positioned correctly, it's going to sound terrible. So do your homework. Make sure, even if you have to go sit through a class or whatever, get the knowledge before you invest that money, and get everything done the right way. I mean, again, going back to my situation here in northeastern Pennsylvania, 99.9% of the time, I don't even use subs. So I have them. I have two 12-inch subs. I have 4 18-inch subs, and I have 2 15-inch subs. Very rarely do I use the 18-inch subs. The 12s I use off and on. Some I may use 1, some I may use 2. But the venues are so small, it's too overbearing. So you have to have the knowledge, know what you're doing. And if you have to talk to somebody, I mean, you go to Guitar Center, there are people there that are qualified, and they will tell you, don't do this, don't do that. Music around, I don't know if there's any music around out by you guys. Here there is a music around, and all the guys that work there are musicians, and they are very excellent musicians. My one buddy, he's torn up, I think, down the East Coast now, and he's an amazing guitarist. They know their stuff. Talk to them. Don't be afraid to ask questions, because I'd rather ask the question than say, here, put it on my card, or here's the cash, or here's the check, and then all of a sudden you're listening to it and you're saying, man, this doesn't sound good. They said these speakers are supposed to be the best, but they sound like crap. So no, talk to people. Reach out to us out here on YouTube. Reach out to people from the round table. There's so many people that are knowledgeable. Brian S. Red, Jay, everybody. I mean, there's reach out to them. Don't just go and spend money because you think it's going to sound good.
All right. So basically, let let me see if I got the takeaway. So the takeaway is, one, understand what your purpose is when you bring a speaker to an event. Use the speakers to like wash the room with sound, make it evenly matched. So don't put them close together because of the way they fan out. And what was the third? What would be a third one? I was always trying to come up with three.
Sometimes you can't put the speakers far away from each other because of the size of the venue, because of the placement where they have the DJ at. I mean, they have a specific area at the one venue I DJ at, and it's a tiny, tiny little area. The dance floor is tiny, and so the speakers are basically this side of the table and this side of the table, and it's only a 6-foot table. That's as far as I could go with the speakers. So it's, unfortunately, that's what it is. So you have to learn how to deal with the situation. You have to learn how to angle the speakers, turn the speakers, whatever way is going to suit you. I mean, I've DJed at this venue, and I had the speakers going straight out. I had the speakers, next time I came up there was more people, so I had to turn the speakers. So I mean, it was just, every time you go there, every event's different. So you have to have the knowledge, and like I said, talk to somebody that really knows what they're doing, that has the experience. I don't want to see you just throw money away because, hey, okay, I got a set of Behringers, but now I'm going to move up to RCFs. Big jump in price, because the RCFs they sound great, and then you get them and you take it to that venue and you're like, oh my God, this sounds like it's like distorting your eardrums. So you're like, I don't know if I made the right investment. So talk to somebody, get the knowledge from people.
Okay. And you should be getting a picture. Buddy drew a diagram of what. So it should be coming up now. I just got it on mine.
Okay.
All right. So I'm still in the corner. And then I'm going to assume I have a speaker. Basically do it just like what I had said originally. Put the head table against the big wall. And then have two speakers on the side of them that's shooting down the dance floor. Then I'm going to assume the ones that's on the left and right will be the filler speakers, right? Oh, you muted. Did you?
Me? Am I freezing up at all?
Oh, I wasn't.
No, you're
even
not freezing
looking.
up.
Huh?
You're not freezing up.
Okay, cool.
You hear me, right?
I can hear you now. Your mouth was moving a second ago, but I didn't hear anything. I thought you had said something.
Oh,
I did.
Oh, what did you say?
Aliens.
Huh?
Aliens.
Oh, but did I have it right? That those would be like the
Yes, where you see the X's at, that would be the speakers.
Mhm.
The squares right
guys.
there, the rectangles, those are the head table, the tables that for the bride and groom and stuff like that.
Mhm.
The DJ booth, you're still in the same spot. You see the arrow, that's your door coming in. So you're
Right.
still in the same spot. Where it says dance floor, that's right in front of those tables. And then you have the rest of the room, just the round tables. You can put the square tables in the front and the round tables behind, whatever. And then again, halfway down the wall, the X's on each side, that's another placement for your side fill speakers.
All right, side fill. Yep.
So that right there, again, that would be how the rest of the room is configured, where the tables need to be and stuff like that, whatever they would want to put. But the dance floor is up front. The bride and groom are on top. Everyone looks at them. The people are kind of facing them. They see them. They're the center of attention in the room. So they come in, they're right there. So I don't know how you do stuff in Ohio. Here in Chicago, it's usually in the Midwest, in Milwaukee, Rockford, whatever. When the grand entrance comes in, the couple come in, they go right to the dance floor, they cut the cake. Cake cutting's done. They go to the head table, and then they have their, speeches, prayers, whatever, dinner, and then after dinner you do your special dances. So, daddy, daughter, mother, son, first dance. It's all after dinner, because the cake's on the floor. when the speech is hit, that's when it gives the time for the caterers or whoever to take the cake off the floor. So I know on East Coast, they come in right away and do the dance. If that's the case for your area, then fine and great. But the dance floor up front up there, that's going to give a focal point, but still gives an area for the couple to come and wave and get pictures from everyone in the room very easily. And again, it's a rectangle. So the people in the far back may not get the best pictures, but the thing is that later on after dinner, they can come up to the front. They can do things. You know, there's things that can be done. Tables, chairs can be moved fairly easily after dinner. So, and again, the rest of the square tables could be that first row is just all square tables going right across that behind it are the round tables.
Okay.
And you can still fill everyone in there. And you know, again, there's a side where the drape is at that's covering up the bouncy whatever. Then fine and great, no problem. It's all covered. It's still there. But the thing is that you don't have to worry about anything.
Okay. So, because we usually do the cake cutting and all that stuff right after the dinner portion. So the way that you're saying, have the cake cutting first, so that takes care of that one table and that be out the way.
That's how we do it here, and that right there, again, depending on what the couple wants, but that's traditional here. They always put the cake on the dance floor, like because the picture
you
I
just
sent you a
showed us
picture
one the
also
other night.
Yeah, the I
If you
sent you
want
an
to
AI
share,
picture
you can share it, because then I'll just enlarge this and then we'll be able to see it. Because you got sharing permission.
Okay, I'm like, you're the boss, not me. This is not my show. This is your show. It's you, Mike. Do I want?
We do the weddings right here. It's, you know, grand introductions, first dance, parent dances, speeches, invocation. They sit down, have dinner. I had one bride, she wanted everything done right in the beginning. It was great. It was like, oh my God, this is awesome. Just the rest of the night was a party. I like that cake. That's nice.
So you can see the cake is right there, right in the dance floor. Again, we're very cramped here.
I was gonna say this looks like one of probably the smallest venues I've seen you at.
Yeah, this is that's a little bit later on, but going forward, want to go backwards. You can see I have like no room.
Yeah.
You can see I have like no room there. You can see the photographer stuff, the hot boxes for the caterers. And then this is there we go. Now this is another one. This is more of a typical. This is a country club. But you can see this is way before people can come in. Cakes on the dance floor. Okay. So here in Chicago, people come in. They go into the. They come in at grand entrances. You have everyone come in. Couple comes in. They get their pictures taken. They go near the head table. They go to the sweetheart table in this case. Get their pictures. Then we go right into cake cutting. They cut the cake. They take the cake off the floor. That's taken out right away because they take it back to cut it up. And then after dinner, it's when you start doing the special dances. We do daddy, daughter, mother, son, and the first dance because a couple is the focal point. You know, some people are like, oh, they're the first ones got dance tonight. No, the first dance is husband and wife. So they're right before the dance floor opens, or you go into anniversary dances. That's how you start getting into anniversary dances. Okay. So you do their dance. Sometimes the back half of their first dance, depending on the couple. Sometimes they want other people. They feel awkward with pictures. You start inviting other couples in, going to other songs, and you start doing anniversary, or you invite other couples in. You got a full dance floor, pictures taken. Then you go maybe one more slow song, and then into the open dance floor, and you start the songs.
Now, buddy, I have a question for you. When you're doing your grand introductions, for the wedding party, do you call any of the brides or the parents, the bridesmaids, groomsmen? Do you say the parents of the bride, Mr. and Mrs. Joseph Smith, parents of the groom, Mr. and Mrs. Allen Priswicki, or do you just say parents of the bride, Josephine and Joseph, parents of the groom?
Depends on the couple how they want it done.
Okay,
It's usually parents of the bride, Mr. and Mrs. Depends. Sometimes they're not together anymore.
Yeah,
So
oh, yeah,
or they like, you know what? You know, it's Bob and Sandy Duncan.
I'll tell
Okay.
you, around here they changed it up. The only ones that they want, that they ask me to call Mr. and Mrs. are Mrs. and Mrs. or Mr. and Mrs. Mr. and Mr. are the bride and groom, bride and bride, groom and groom. That's the
It all
only one
depends.
they
Everyone
want.
is different.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a change, and I think it's a good change because I think they're the focal point for the night. I think they're the one that should be called Mr. and Mrs. or Mr. and Mr. or Mrs. and Mrs. whatever it shall be. I think it's a nice thing. And then another change is all the groomsmen come in together, all the bridesmaids come in together. So that's
Yeah, here comes your bridesmaids, Missy, Candace, Tracy, et cetera, all coming in. They all come together.
Yeah.
Again, half a dozen one the other. It's
Makes it
50-50
easier on us,
here.
but, you know.
But the thing is that like we don't say last names of the wedding party. It's just the first names.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Because the last name should be the big last name is the last name. If the other half is taking the last name, sometimes you run into couples that are not taking the other half's name. They're still keeping it right professionally, or just too difficult, whatever the case may be. Hey, you know what? They just want to go with first names. It's Bobby and Susie. It's Bobby and Susie then all night. It was Bill and or it's William and Jennifer. That's William and Jennifer. Or if it's Bill and Johnny, it's Bill and Jenny. Whatever way they feel comfortable, wherever they want. It's their friends and family. People know who they are, and I always tell people, the only strangers are there is Tracy and I. We're just strange. So it's one of the things. Don't worry about it. We're there to support them.
Last year I did a wedding, actually 2 weddings, one on a Friday night, one on a Saturday, back to back. And the first couple, say they were Mike and Lisa. The second couple was Michael and Lisa. And I made the mistake. The first wedding, Mike and Lisa. Second wedding, I said, all right, ladies and gentlemen, here comes our bride and groom, Mike and Lisa Timmick. And the groom walked in, and he looked at me. I'm like, oh boy, I messed up. It's supposed to be Michael. He loved to be just called Michael. He didn't want to be called Mike. But he's like, Mike, don't worry about it. All my buddies call me Mike. I'm like, oh, thank God,
Well, that's why I was trying to find out. Like the groom this past weekend, he's James, but a lot of people they go by Jim or they Jimmy.
Yeah.
No, okay,
yeah.
So that's one thing we find out. What they want to be called? Are all their friends and family calling him Jim?
Yeah.
And he's James professionally. What do people know him by?
Exactly.
And
that's what I tell the couple too. What do your friends and your family know you by?
Where people comfortable with. Because a lot of people are not going to, call someone by their first name. They're going to call by the name they're accustomed to.
Yes.
Unless it's a foul word, like some people have certain names. Like you have a pet name for me, Mike. I know what you call me.
Never.
It's done out of love.
I'm looking at myself in the screen here. I feel like I'm opposite of a skunk. I have all white hair and I have a little black patch right here.
So when you when you put the cake on the floor at the beginning, what happens when you get a DJ that can't wait for dinner time?
What do you mean?
You'll see it in a couple of seconds.
Oh no. Oh no. I'm waiting for it. Oh, well, there you go. Yep. That's what happens. Fat guys like me gotta eat the cake.
Well, I didn't see it yet. I'm on that delay over here.
All right. So it's coming up to our 2 hours. So let's wrap it up. So this
it's a great
week.
show tonight.
Okay. Now it's time to do our shout out.
I got one more. I got one more for you there, Dwayne.
Okay.
For you. Another AI picture. I like the people in the background.
Let me download this one real quick. And our shout out goes to our new Facebook member. I'm glad I kind of like looked, because that's not the first time I saw somebody new there. But let's see who our new member is. It is Kim Kenya, and this person is a VDJ. And also, got shout out Buddy from the DJ Roundtable for joining us and giving us some good information and helping me out for next week and this consultation meeting that's coming up with a couple.
Thanks for being there, buddy.
No
Pleasure.
problem. Thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate it. Sorry I talk so much, and
Hey, it felt good to sit back and be quiet for a change.
Now I gotta go back and watch the show so I can go and take notes and be informed when I go meet with
but
this
you
couple.
can ask me anytime you have a question. You can always ask. That's not a problem. I don't have a problem with people asking questions. Do I know everything? No, but the thing is that there's plenty of sources, there's plenty of information, and actually I will say this: QSC, they just did a great write-up. It's on their website on how to couple and cardioid subwoofers.
And it doesn't cost nothing to ask a question. Instead of going buying gear or buying something that how can I say, you get on YouTube and this DJ has his opinion, this DJ has his opinion, this other co-op has their opinion, or multi-op, and you get overwhelmed by all this stuff being thrown at you. So hey, let me inbox Buddy, let me inbox Brian, let me inbox Dwayne, let me inbox Brian K, let me inbox Jay and get their input. It doesn't cost nothing for a question to be asked. You go out to buy the equipment, you're spending money. So ask the question first.
Yep. And a good way to ask us questions is to make sure you join our Facebook group page, the Cue It Up DJ Podcast. And here's the generic long Facebook group URL, or you can just type in Cue It Up DJ Podcast, and there's two groups, a private and a public group. You can join either one. You can reach me on all of my socials at HitmanDDub. You can also reach djmikiemike on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at djmikiemike, or at djmikiemike45, or it was at Timic.
Timic, yep.
Yep.
And you know what the 45 stands for? I'm the fourth, my son's the fifth.
Oh, okay. And Buddy, his is he was getting on me about this picture. His is at TBM Productions DJ1. Yeah, I saw that when I saw that picture. I was like, maybe it's because we're in a circle, and that's where you're standing far back. But yeah, they made you look real short.
I'll tell you, bud.
So I am 6 foot and 3/4, so I'm technically 6'1".
Okay.
So I'm 72 3/4 inches.
But ever since I had my back surgery, I slouch a lot. I'm 6'3", so.
Yeah, I knew you were taller than me by a couple inches.
And then
my dad was 6'6", so I'm short.
And so, what's this a picture?
Here's one other thing. Also, speaking of speakers for wireless, another option is the Pioneer DJ Wave 8, because they have the built-in wireless system that you can get up to 4 speakers to.
Isn't that the
so if you wanted to have multiple speakers to cover an room, that you want to run wireless and battery operated and cover an area, a really great one, they're not cheap. You're talking a map, I want to say it's like 900 or 1,000 per speaker, but you got a couple of those. You want a great side fill speaker, 8-inch speaker, very clean, very clear. I had a chance to hear them not too long ago. Very, very good speaker. And they had the built-in wireless system that is their own proprietary system that Pioneer invests a lot of money into. I definitely would say if you want to go into something, that should be on your radar if you want to get into wireless speakers. And if you do 2 8s and a 12-inch subwoofer, you can easily do 150 people with some really good sound. And it has a nice, clean bass.
Isn't that the Alpha Theta?
Yes. Pioneer, Alpha Theta, it's all the same.
Yeah, I know they're rebranding and everything.
They're changing their name.
Yeah, to me it's still Pioneer, but
I'm old school. It's Pioneer. It's Alpha Theta, Pioneer. It's the same thing. Yeah. But yes, if you go into any of the stores, or if you go to Sweetwater or iDJ Now or any of the DJ websites, and you look underneath there, you look for the Wave 8, that is a great option to give you for a great sounding speaker, not just for ceremonies, but again, for a lot of good size events. And you add a nice subwoofer to that, a nice 12 or 15, you're going to have a great sounding system.
Yeah.
And they will push a good amount of power. They're not the most powerful speaker in the world, no, but they have really great sound, and they will cover a good area and give you a leg up on a lot of your competition. And that's the difference between making a good DJ is having it leg up on competition, doing things the other DJs can't do.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So what is this a picture of? No playlist or?
DJ hogging the microphone.
Yeah, we had talked about that last week.
He's got a huge list of information he's giving out, and everybody's like, no, stop talking. So they're all giving the thumbs down to him.
Mm-hmm.
Because we know sometimes there's DJs who love hogging microphones.
Oh, That's my pet peeve.
We love you, Mike.
When you hear a sound out of me, except for the introductions, if the bride and groom come up and say, "Hey, Mike, joke around with my cousin Steve" or something, that's it. I will at the end. I never even announced my name in the beginning. I never even announced the venue. My thing is, you got the invitation. You know what venue you're coming to. At the end of the night, I announce my name, and I tell everybody, please, if you have too much to drink, call an Uber, or get in with a designated driver, get it right home, get there safe. The bride and groom don't want to see you get in an accident. And I'm djmikiemike. Have a great night, everybody. That's the only say my name.
All right. And we also have our own DJ collective. And the views and opinions expressed during the DJ Collective Network primetime shows are those of the individual hosts and guests of that show. They do not necessarily reflect the views or the official stance of the different shows of the DJ Collective Network as a whole, its affiliates, or production partners. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. But I'm beginning to think our collective is falling apart a little bit. But it says, the DJ Collective Network, one culture, many voices. Welcome to our primetime DJ lineup, a weekly schedule of live streamed shows built for DJs, by DJs. Whether you're just starting out or scaling your business, we've got the knowledge, stories, and inspirations to help you level up. So, as of right now, at this very moment, on Mondays at 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, for every DJ chasing dreams, no matter the odds, it's your time to spend with DJ Cool Things. So make sure you catch them before the channel is deleted. On Tuesdays, you can guarantee that Buddy on Tuesday at 9:00 Eastern Standard Time on Twitch, live on Twitch. Join Buddy and his weekly guest panel of DJs for unfiltered conversations that matter. The DJ Table with Buddy from TBM Productions, real DJs, real stories, real lessons, all at the round table. And then he does the rebroadcast of that live Twitch show every Monday at 12 o'clock.
12 noon.
12 noon. Yep.
Yep.
And then we have the DJ Biz School. Hopefully he'll come back and start doing live broadcasts and streams again. But until then, you can catch on past episodes of the DJ Biz School with Sean, DJ Night Owl, at the DJ Biz School on YouTube. And then on Thursday, it's the Cue It Up DJ podcast with me, the HitmanDDub, and DJ Mikey Mike. It's not just talk, it's real tools for real DJs of all skill levels. So don't miss a beat. Like, subscribe, and share each episode to support the movement. It's the DJ Collective Network where DJs grow together. Then also, Kevin would normally be here. You can catch him in the chat on the DJ Roundtable, but you can catch him in person on the KJ Chill Room karaoke chat, led by Matt and Eric. And their show is every Monday at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then I want to say they show a rebroadcast on YouTube at DJ Network TV channel on YouTube at 9 o'clock on Sundays. And so that is the DJ Collective Network. All right, do anybody want to say any last announcements or words before we head on out?
It was a pleasure having Buddy here tonight. I'm so happy you joined us, pal. And belated happy birthday again.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Happy belated birthday. So make sure you check his show out on Tuesday on Twitch, and then watch the rebroadcast on Mondays, and then come back and check us out next Thursday. But until then, remember, before it's time to spin, you got to first cue it up. So take care. Oh yeah, I forgot. We almost walked out without doing our fade out message, which is pros don't guess, they place with purpose. So make sure when you go out and do your DJing this weekend, make sure you're just not bringing any kind of speaker. Make sure you understand the purpose of the sound that you want to try to provide for your event. So until next week, take care and stay blessed.
I rise like the sun while the world still sleeps. Scouring the sights looking for new leads. Marathon gigs with no in between. Your worth is from a rear view they seen. They wanna party, but I'm battling fatigue, chasing passion while my mental is still out on leave. It's an everyday hustle, so respect the DJ life. We make it look easy, but the pressure's tight. Cue up the pressure. Got a story to tell. Dreams in the booth where the DJs dwell. Clubbing is a struggle like it's all I've got. Set it up, break it down, travel to the next spot. Ambitions, the engine stay sharp like a tool. Revving through my gigs, power drinks is fuel. It's an everyday hustle, we'll respect the DJ life. We make it look easy, but the pressure's tight. Pressure. Cue up the pressure. 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 Cue up the pressure. The pressure. Cue up the pressure.